Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President, SAP Platform Solutions, Steve Lucas.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Internet of Things World Forum. And let me first start by actually thanking, am I going last? Am I last? Is that what this is? Okay, good. As long as I'm not between you and something else. I hate being in that position, although this will be very good, what we're about to discuss. So, first of all, I want to thank Cisco. This is, one of those things where this wouldn't happen without a tremendous amount of effort. And I've seen a lot of people making a lot of effort over the last, not just couple days, but weeks and months. So let me first take my hat off to Cisco. And I think if we could all thank them, that would be amazing. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And really excited by the comments that John Chambers had. And also, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that this guy's about to sell me some ERP. And I want to share with you how I'm going to do that in a roundabout way. Actually, the easiest way to describe my job is not ERP at SAP. I'm the president of our platform solutions, which is everything that isn't ERP, but you need it to run it. We've been, as you have, transforming our business over the last 10 years at SAP, focusing on how we can build out database platforms, middleware capability, mobility, a range of capability that just has been very, very exciting as our own personal journey. And it's certainly made the topics of big data and Internet of Things central and integral to what SAP does, what we focus on. Now, I'm going to save myself some time by simply stating that I agree with all the facts and figures and statistics cited prior to me coming up on stage. The Internet of Things is huge. It's big. There's a tremendous amount of data. And what I will say is, I think it's fascinating if you contemplate the last 15 to 20 years of the Internet. People coming online, most of humanity. We have over 1 billion people on Facebook. It's unbelievable. And how transformative those first 20 years have been for us, not just as individuals, but as society. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and say, the Internet 2.0 is very boring, we'll just wait for 3, we're going to go do something else. It's here, we're not turning it off, it's here to stay. And the question really is what happens when 50 billion things get online? And nobody really knows the answer to that. Nobody really does. But we know it's going to be something special. And how I know that is I was doing an interview recently and someone said, so Steve, let's talk about the Internet of Things. When is it going to get here? I said, it's already here. It's all around us. And they said, well, what do you mean? And I held out my mobile phone and I said, well, I can change the temperature in my house on my mobile phone even though I'm out of the country. And my wife and I have this eternal debate over what's hot and cold in the house. She thinks that cold is like 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's punishment in most countries. Like for me, 68's like perfect. I'm cooling off. And so I have the ability when I'm out of the country at 3 in the morning to turn it way down and then wait for her to call me and see what happens. So I love the Internet of Things. I think it's fantastic. And in fact, I know the Internet of Things is here because in this month's Wired magazine, one of the cover stories is about a company that's making a smoke alarm. Think about that for a minute. Who gives a crap about a smoke alarm? But it's on the cover page of Wired magazine. The only time you care about a smoke alarm is when that little chirp happens and you can't find where the hell that thing's coming from. You're walking through your house going, is it here? No? And then you get over there and you realize it's here, and then you realize these smoke alarms actually are smart. They're taunting me. I cannot find the battery. So, but here we are. We put a few sensors in a smoke alarm, and suddenly it's super interesting. Let's put it in Wired magazine. That's how powerful the Internet of Things really is. It's pretty cool when you think about it. And I also know that we're in the Internet of Things because I have 2 things in my house. One is that thermostat. You can adjust it on your phone. It's on the wireless network. And the coolest thing ever, I have window shades that are now on my Wi-Fi network. So I can go on my computer. If I'm too lazy to do that, I can press a button and they will lower. Now, in and of themselves, it's kind of interesting that my thermostat is on my phone. Seldom do I check it, it's there. It's interesting that my window shades are on my phone. Seldom do I check them, but they are there. But what John Chambers was talking about was not that they are online, not that they are smart, that they are on the network. It's the application between them, is what he was talking about. Think about it for a moment. When the sun sets, should the shades on the west side of my home lower themselves? Or should the thermostat go on because it's too hot? Well, there's an energy-efficient decision to be made, but no one's built the app yet. I know, I've Googled it. It doesn't exist. Huge opportunity. I'm going to put that levels above that toilet thing that was articulated earlier, although that could be huge. But my point is, by the way, is this water one that someone has consumed? If it's not, don't drink after me. That would be gross. Thank you very much. So that, to me, is an exciting and killer application. It's less about home automation, and it's about smart decision making, but it's an app that's there. And it's created by the Internet of Things. It's an opportunity. So we're excited about that. And that's just one of those opportunities that will come from these 50 billion things that are out there. Now, I have this theory that I've been thinking about, and this will be a little esoteric, but it wouldn't be an Internet of Things World Forum if we didn't talk about things that were esoteric at some point. So let's talk about the concept of infinite things for a minute. At some point, the human brain loses track of 50 billion things with how many sensors in them? Who knows? A lot. In fact, I heard the gentleman from Qualcomm yesterday talk about trillions of things. It's a lot of things. To me, anything more than what I can count to in my lifetime is infinite, as far as I'm concerned. So we have an infinite number of things. And the question that just begs to be asked is, does an infinite number of things with an infinite number of sensors generating a seemingly infinite, I realize this is hyperbole, but makes a point, a seemingly infinite amount of data, does it not then generate an infinite amount of decisions? Well, this is completely impractical to have an infinite amount of decisions. Who's going to make all those? No one can make an infinite amount of decisions. It's a complete waste of time. So on the one hand, we have to think through, what road does this lead us down? And my argument is simple. My argument is every company in this room and every customer of every company in this room has a business to run. Those businesses use applications, they use systems today. And we have to figure out a way as a community and as individuals to connect those systems to a reasonable and meaningful number of decisions that need to be made from this infinite amount of information being delivered, or seemingly, I realize the hyperbole, but this is incredibly important for us to do. So when we talk about the Internet of Things, what we're really talking about is, I think, something unprecedented that society has really never had to face before, an infinite, or potentially infinite, number of decisions. And what we really need as part of that is we need smarter things. Now, we actually have a thing. We'll get to this in a moment. That's what's under the covers there. So since we are talking about things, we'll bring a thing. We had a slide that that earlier said we'll show our thing. We deleted that, felt it was terribly uncouth for the presentation. So we'll talk about smarter things, we'll talk about smarter networks, and we'll talk about smarter systems. But most importantly, if all of these things are not integrated, then what good are they? To what end do they lead? If they're not leading to a better business decision, then they're not leading us anywhere. They're not helping us. So we're going to talk about all this today in some level of detail. And so first, I'd like to talk about smarter things. And so to join me in talking about things, we have Ian Campbell. If you could please welcome my good colleague, Ian. Welcome. Let's see the thing. Now, this thing is actually a vending machine. Now, believe it or not, this is actually the functional fascia of the same vending machine that we have at our booth. The reason we don't have the whole vending machine up here is A, it's 500 pounds. B, it's incredibly dangerous. Earlier this week, it fell over and the whole screen smashed. So this is 2.0, and which is actually working. We were going to show you a picture of all the little things that this thing became. So we're going to talk about this in detail. Now, why would we do this? Why would we bring a vending machine up? It's not because, and I want to be clear, we are not making an announcement that we have transitioned to the vending machine business. I am fascinated by it. That's not what we're in. However, the vending machine, the humble, venerable vending machine, brings to light many things that we have to think about every day. We think about things like manufacturing, making smart devices that sometimes live in a disconnected state, yes, on the edge of your network. And they need powerful embedded compute technology. But it's not just about making the device and the sensors within it. These systems are also connected. There's many of them. Not one, but think 10,000, 100,000 of these very smart devices. That's the internet part of the Internet of Things. And then, of course, there's the retail aspect of it, the consumer aspect of it, making sure that products are in the right place at the right time. That's the retail and the supply chain. There's a lot of really juicy stuff in here. There's the platform itself. How did we even build the software solution that runs this, that connects all these things, that makes it alive? And so we chose the vending machine for many of those reasons. Also, we're going to be going through a replenishment example as well. So, Ian, here we are looking at this wonderful vending machine. Hopefully everyone can see it. And you've also seized my mobile phone as part of the demo.
Exactly. Well, what we've got here, ladies and gentlemen, is a thing. It's a mobile, it's a mobile device.
It is mobile, it has
It's mobile,
wheels.
it has
Yeah.
wheels. It is a vending machine. The idea here is that this thing is full of sensors, as we talked about before. It's got a temperature sensor to see what the temperature's like. It's got a people detector to see how many people are walking past. And it's got temperatures it's got temperature. It knows also what's the best seller. So it's taking the decision away from you, bringing all of that. So if Steve walks up here with his mobile phone and near-field communication, he activates it, and it says, "Hello, Steve."
What I'm a big fan of, by the way, is the built-in sarcasm of "back so soon."
Really? Okay.
It's almost an electronic shame me away from eating potato chips.
I'm being British. I don't know the meaning of the word sarcasm.
Okay.
Anyway. And as you can see here, this is also connected, as Steve talked about things and about the network. It's connected to the network. And you can see here, because you've shared with your phone information about your workout, your sleep patterns, it's brought them here into this and is already making some suggestions based on your lack of sleep and your half-hearted workout. It's making out here what you should probably have to drink now.
I love that. I'm actually
drink.
sort of feeling guilty,
Okay.
even though it's hypothetical. I love it.
But as I said, it's taking that decision and helping you make that decision much easier and much faster already using all of the sensors.
Well, I love all this, and I do. But after a good workout, I like carb loading. So I think I'm going to go. So I actually, in no way, because we have many customers that coat many things in chocolate from SAP. I am not endorsing one company or another ever. It's just that I do like Twix bars. I am extraordinary. I'm a fan of them for multiple reasons, one of which is there are 2 of them in the package. I think it's some mental thing where it's like, technically I'm eating one package, but there are 2 of them. You start all over with the fun again. So we are going to take a look for, I want a Twix bar. So
Okay,
can I go
well,
ahead
Twix
and
isn't actually shown up here, but obviously the system's intelligent, it knows the network, it knows your previous purchases, so click on the purchase button. We're out of Twix. It knows you're a fan of Twix, but we're out of it. But it's suggesting an
This is actually
alternative.
one of the, this is a travesty of humanity, which we will address momentarily. Please continue.
But obviously it's suggesting an alternative. Because you haven't got a Twix, it's giving you a special offer here. And if I go special offer, you can have a Kit Kat at a reduced price. 99 cents.
This thing's pitching me on a Kit Kat
Again, it's
indicator.
pitching you at a Kit Kat. So it's saying, Steve, you know, you haven't worked out enough, you know, have a Kit Kat.
I kind of like it because it's actually, the offer is tying in the Gatorade, which sort of makes me think this might be good for me.
It is. It's
and
very
then
good for
I like that. I like that. So I go ahead and I can just get it now.
you can just get the ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Oh, here it is.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, just to be clear, Ian does not come with the vending machine. The one outside actually makes the noise. It does work. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. That's the only high-tech part of our demonstration. So the vending machine, it's interesting for me because even if this were completely disconnected, we have an embedded database sitting inside of this platform. It's called SQL Anywhere, and it provides the intelligence. In fact, it provides the intelligence and the predictive know-how to actually make a recommendation to me based on what I've liked. So even if this system is only connected at night, even if it's connected on 3G, so if it's at the edge of your network or completely disconnected, we have the ability to integrate and then the ability to replicate based on when bandwidth is available, et cetera, et cetera. The software is there today to make it very easy to take these smart things and to make them smarter. And that's part of the whole addressing the infinite decisions as we go forward. So let's take a look just for a moment, if we could, at a little bit of a broader discussion. So we've talked for a moment about a very smart thing, in this case, the vending machine. And there's a tremendous amount of compute that can sit locally right here at the edge of my network. Or should I want it, an even richer experience if this were in a city center perhaps where we have a high bandwidth connection. And that's a little bit about networks and systems. So think about this for a moment. Seldom is it one vending machine. This is not my company. This is a distribution point that we'd like to turn into a profit point. So how do we create a smarter network? Well, there are many opportunities to do that. And what I want to do is just talk for a minute about taking a step back from one thing to talk about many. Think about this. If we had the ability to connect hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of these devices, so that these devices know for a moment, it is out of a Twix bar. And here's the interesting thing. It won't be the only vending machine that's out of Twix bars, because they're great. But here's the challenge. Which one gets the Twix bar? Which one? Now, if you're running an SAP replenishment application today, the SAP system sitting way over here between the network and the device, it's already saying, here's what you need to do. You need to follow the plan you wrote down a year ago. That's what it's saying. But that's not the right decision. That's not talking to the machine with the sensor, with the traffic meter, that's saying, there's 1,000 hungry teenagers right here. It's a rabid mob. We need to get some Twix bars there. That is not what the central plan says. That's not responding to the opportunity. Now, there's a couple ways to handle that. Certainly one is handle that in flight. We have the ability to sit right on the network with our event processing technology and make smart decisions in flight. Millions of transactions moment by moment. We have companies like JP Morgan Chase that use that technology to run their trading networks globally. We have a company here, a great partner and customer, SK Solutions, that uses that same technology paired with Cisco technology today to make sure that construction cranes don't run into each other on mega projects based in Dubai, for example, where you have over 150 operating cranes in real time. I don't need to explain why that's a good thing. It's just good. So that's a great thing when you talk about complex or event processing. But we still need a smarter system. We still need a system that doesn't just depend on what we told it to do a year ago. And so we have a new technology called HANA that allows you to not just take in sensor information, but social media, as we've talked about, thousands of other data points, and to use that to drive a smarter plan in real time, to enable the network to move faster, make smarter decisions with event processing, and ultimately supercharge the device. Here's the challenge. So if we don't use that, let's take a look at this in real time. So if I'm just using my central plan from a year ago, I'm not using any of these technologies we talked about, I've got SAP replenishment, I've packed up the truck, driver's in, he's already on the road, and he's not going to this vending machine. Let's take a look at how we deal with that.
Okay, so imagine, the lorry driver, not truck, we're in Europe. The lorry driver is going around and he has got the job to replenish these different machines. Now, basically, I'm now the replenishment manager back at the base. I don't want to make a decision. I don't want to go into my systems and make a decision. Wouldn't it be great if the systems themselves, the network itself, could actually make a decision?
So you're the corporate replenishment.
I'm the corporate replenishment. Now, you can see here the guy is in that little blue lorry at the top of the screen. And basically, you can see then his route here. So his route is saying go and replenish.
That's dictated by the SAP replenishment system.
That's by the system at the end of the day. But obviously, and here I can see the Twix are running out in this machine. He needs to do something.
That is tragic.
That's tragic. But now we have an alert that we've just seen. This machine over here, where the alert is now running out of Twixes. So if I look here, you can see then the actual prognosis that we will be running out of Twixes in that machine. So what we basically want to do now is that the system to be intelligent, those different nodes to communicate on the network and come up with a new plan that can be then sent to the lorry driver. And here you can see what's actually happened now is that that information, all of the smart meters from all of the things have gone into the network and modified the system at the end of the day without any human interaction. I'm just watching this. I'm a bit of a voyeur, if you like.
I love that word. And can we then, the question is, so you see that happening, are we updating the central plan?
We are updating the central plan
So
automatically.
there's no disconnection. So just because the truck driver changes his route, and he didn't make that decision, the system did.
The system did it automatically. We saw it there, it was blinky blinky, and then what will happen at the end? We then have both the Twixters in that machine and the other machine are now better. We will not then lose business in that way.
And what just happened, I love that, what just happened was we're getting some incredible information from these smart computing devices. Sitting on the network, our event processing system is talking to thousands of those right now. And it's sensing that they're all saying we're out of Twix bars. I mean, this is a national crisis. But the reality is that every Twix bar, when they're out, or every vending machine, when it's out of Twix bars, thinks it's the most important one. So how does this vending machine make its case versus another one? Well, sitting on the network on that event processing, it can detect, that's what was going on in real time there, the contention that's going on. It can make a decision in flight, or it can actually talk to our new central planning application. It's the one that you have today, but running on our new platform that's smarter. It's faster. And so it can understand everything that's going on and every node of the network. It can take into account social information, news information. It may want to factor in city event schedules and know that there's going to be more traffic there in advance. It can take all that into account. It can create a new order in real time, update the transactional system so there's never any contention with the central plan, and then let the truck driver know in real time. So what does the truck driver actually see?
Well, the truck driver will actually see something quite different. If I switch into, and we've got some screenshots of that over here, so what the truck driver will actually see is this. This is the truck driver's, what he's actually seeing. So this is his route before anything has changed. So the truck driver is looking at Google Maps. It's saying, Mr. Lorry driver, you drive from here to there, no problem. But then what happens is then an alert will come through, and you can see here an alert then pops up on the lorry driver's screen saying, you have been rerouted. As I said, no human intervention here. The network and the system and the things are working together, thanks to Hannah getting all of that, crunching it in there, pulling up an alert like this. The lorry driver can then say, okay, I accept this. Doesn't really have a choice. He moves then into the SAP Cyclo application here, where the actual reroute is described, and the new replenishment that he has to do is also updated in this app. And then he can then say, okay, I accept that. He goes back then to Google Maps, and then the reroute has automatically been done, and he just follows it. He doesn't care. He's just following orders. The system is intelligent enough to help the business make the right decision to optimize the profits.
And the beautiful part is that on one of the previous screens there was an accept or reject. So the whole point is that we can include every node, every device, everything, whether that's a human. So if the truck driver knows something that the system doesn't, perhaps there is an accident. Perhaps it's something that we can't see with our eyes, and with our cameras, and there's no sensor telling us that. You can still use the human in the system to make the right decision. That's the beauty. That's the power of this network. Now think about it for a minute. John Chambers talked about an app economy. Well, we've got a mobile application, in this case for the driver. It empowers the driver to make the right decision at the right time. We've got a mobile application for the replenishment manager. You are the replenishment manager and the truck driver. So we've got that application that allows the replenishment manager to just monitor and understand what's going on in his route and his network right now. And we've got applications that allow you to centrally manage, all on mobile devices. Think about this. This is the app economy that we've talked about, made real by the Internet of Things. It's here, and it's now. And so when we talk about this Internet of Things, as we go back to the slides, this is real. This isn't 10 years from now, 5 years from now. It's now. And that's what we're excited about, and that's what this is all about. So, I think it's a fascinating diagram, but the reality is that if these systems aren't integrated end to end, none of it matters. So when we talk about the thing, and again, the thing being metaphorical for all things, we talk about smarter networks and we talk about smarter systems. All of these must be integrated. If I'm the CEO of the business, if I'm standing here, or I'm the replenishment manager, or I'm the CFO, I need to understand all of this in a cohesive manner. It can't be a blind spot for me. Creating it, integrating it, and just telling people don't worry about it, that doesn't create trust. And as much as we need to secure information in the Internet of Things and this new world that we're facing, if we don't trust the system to make the right decisions, if we can't have the kind of visibility and transparency that every business wants with these systems, then it won't matter. We'll spend all this money on nothing. And so the question is how do we integrate these things? How does someone back here running the system today, many of you have SAP systems today, how do you gain the visibility? Now, I know that analytics is a big topic when we talk about the Internet of Things because we have all of this data and sensors and other important things that we need to analyze. But what would that look like for me managing that at a corporate level? So what does that look like, Ian?
Well, if we get the iPad back up, I can show you. Here we have one of our business information BI applications.
It's an app.
It's an app coming up here, SAP BI. I'm going to start that now. And it's exactly as you said, Steve. The idea here is you've got millions and millions of points of data that you need to be able to understand. Now, as a replenishment manager, here I have a list of all of the machines I'm responsible for. I can see in the second column things like, its location. I can see its uptime. I can see also the amount of traffic. We have a little camera on the top there. The amount of traffic that's going in there. And as a result, the stock levels where I have red fallouts. And for example, if I see here that this top one, there's a fault in it, there's one fault. If I want to drill down, and out of those millions of points of sensor data, billions of points of sensor data, I can drill down into the machine.
So we've gone from this to this in an instant.
Exactly. I can actually look at the machine here, and I can see every single sensor in the machine and understand if I need to send out a repair crew or whatever they need to do to go to that machine. It's easy as that. I can see here also about the machine how it's actually connected. On this left-hand side here, you can actually see the actual network route.
So potential network faults, we can pull that from Cisco logs.
Exactly. Well, Cisco would never go down. And you have then all the information here about the transaction volume that I can then scroll backwards and forwards and see where problems have actually occurred. But what's fascinating about this is that we can use that historical data to also think about the future. If I look here, I can see here all of my historical data. Or you can see the different colors represent the different brands that have been sold and where I've had stock out. But we're actually here today, and in this blue area now, we can actually use the information from the network to interpolate and think about what could possibly happen in the future and have predictions going out into the future. The shades of blue is about the probability of that. So we can actually detect and predict any stock out that may happen in the future and automatically then create and modify the plan automatically.
So this scenario becomes less and less of a possibility.
Exactly. That you will always have your Twix after your half-assed workout.
That's fantastic.
Also about this as well, we can bring in the social component of it as well. We've talked about the amount of traffic that's going in there. It's very important for people to understand, what's actually happening in the machine to make, special offers. And what we can do here is when the machine was set up in the office, we actually then photograph people, and you can look at the traffic. All of these are signed.
We did tell them we were doing it.
We would tell them. Yeah, that's right. But it's very interesting to see. You've got the thinking about it type of guy. You can actually then do targeted mailing campaigns for it. You've got the what the hell am I going to get today? You've got the, I'm just walking past. You've got the, I'll have some more of that, please. So, as I said, we have all of this information
We
available.
have names for all of these. We won't go through all of them.
That's right. So we have social information here. Everything is available from the sensor. So we can go from the thing to the network to the system. Everything is completely integrated. It's live and working as you've seen it here today.
Ian, thank you for that presentation.
My pleasure.
You so much.
Thank you very much.
So, in summary, as we talk today about what we're excited about, and I think all of us share that same enthusiasm for this brave new world that we've entered, but I always want to remind everyone that we are there. We are here today. I guess está aquí, since we're here in Barcelona. The point is that we believe that SAP, along with many of you, many of our partners, we're excited about this world. We want to help you get there. We want to be part of this. We want to lead in the Internet of Things. And whether that's smarter systems, smarter things, smarter networks, whatever that may be, if you look beyond this for a moment, obviously all of those systems, manufacturing, retail, supply chain. It's an extraordinary world. We don't need to cover all that. I think we've given a great example of it. But suffice it to say that we are ready to deliver on these things today. We're excited about inventing the future with you of the Internet of Things tomorrow. We look forward to many of these Internet of Things World Forums. We look forward to working with many of you. Thank you for your time today.